And we're back here in Inside the Ropes. I'm joined by the one and only Mick Foley, the hardcore legend. You have lots of names, but to me you're just Mick. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, Kenny. Mick is fine.
Mick is fine. Well, I want to ask you, one of the biggest stories in wrestling this year has been Bray Wyatt and his turn into the Fiend, the kind of Jekyll and Hyde thing with the Firefly Funhouse, and you were one of his first victims.
Yes.
You still sit on his wall in the Firefly Funhouse with your eyes red crossed out. He's the Universal Champion, biggest push in the company, biggest merch seller. Talk to us about your experiences with Bray Wyatt over the years, him becoming the Fiend, and your experience kind of helping him grow as a character this year.
I was somewhere in the archives when there is a Bray Wyatt best of retrospective. They have to break out a scene of me in December 2013 as Father Christmas, trying to show him the hangman spot in the ropes. Just bizarre world of WWE is here's Father Christmas trying to teach Bray Wyatt the hangman spot that I should have taken off the menu after it cost me my ear, and now I'm passing it down to somebody else, and he didn't take that one as of yet. But I've really been impressed. My one knock on the old Bray Wyatt character was that the character didn't shift gears when it needed to. It kind of went in circles, and they were majestic circles. But I was like, sometimes you need to kick it in and just go in overdrive. And I think he's done that with this. I know he's done it because he will transform in front of our eyes, like he says, Jekyll and Hyde. And the biggest compliment I can give a performer of the current day is that I put down whatever I'm doing when he's on. I might be on my tablet, I might be writing, and then when he comes on, everything goes down and I just look at the TV screen. So he's a really mesmerizing performer, and he's got the mandible claw now.
And what was the experience like for you, him mandible clawing you, almost the torch being passed? And did you feel an energy there that day that he was becoming something? Because it really is taking a life of its own.
Yeah, I did. It was very, it was an ominous feeling. I tried my best to lead people to believe they were going to get a lighthearted, feel-good moment. Even before I pitched to my video, because I went online and talked about winning the 24/7 title, and then I even referenced it in my promo. And so I felt like when those lights went out and when he put me down with my own hold, that we had done something, that he, more than I, had done something special, but I had been part of it.
And this year you introduced the 24/7 championship, lots of comparisons to the hardcore title. Yeah. Although I think there were a few more main eventers in the hardcore title scene than the 24/7, but what was that call like, and what do you think of adding a belt like that?
Well, hey, look, I get to decide what I do and do not take part in, and the call came to me right after I'd done the shows with you and Taker in the UK, and WWE wanted to know if I would go to London. And this is like 3 days after I got home, and I was high enough on the idea that I was willing to go to London to unveil the 24/7 championship. It turned out we did it a week or two later in Albany, New York, which is a heck of a lot closer for me. But I was all in. I did realize that maybe we were baiting and switching a little too heavily, and that if I could go back and do it again, I would have not have taken such a serious tone in the promo, because the 24/7 title is fun, and I think it's been a success, but it's not serious in nature. But I know there was a lot of people maligning, the title itself, the title belt. But even that night, I mean, I had to stick around later than I would have so that WWE could use my rental car, despite my reputation for thriftiness. If I'm on the Emerald Isle and I see a nice car, I'll take that car if it's the same as a lesser car, same amount of money. And so they wanted to use that. I think it was like a Chrysler 300 or something. And so I was sticking around, and when I saw Ron Killings talk Bobby Roode into hiding in the trunk, and then Roode opens up the door and there's a referee in the front seat, my initial feeling was, look, if you don't like this, you're not lying to me, because I know better. You're lying to yourself. And so it was pretty rewarding where people came around on it, in just a few weeks, and it took on a life of its own, on the internet. Things could go viral, and that was the idea, that it would be something that the WWE Universe could enjoy somewhere other than their television set.
Back in '98, when WWF introduced the hardcore title, I mean, you kind of pioneered that belt and made it a belt that ended up going on for years and years and years. Do you remember the initial conversation about there's going to be the hardcore belt, it's coming to you, and like, what was your thought process? Because if you didn't commit to that belt, that belt wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I did commit to it. I mean, I was given the title by Mr. McMahon, and it was supposed to be like a joke that I didn't know was a joke, and they gave it to me, and it's just it's like, when people get down on the 24/7 title, I have to remind them that the hardcore title was a bunch of jagged pieces of metal glued to an old strap of leather. It was no masterpiece, but it was the effort that went into it and the pride that all the guys took in trying to win it and defend it. And I just know that when they gave it to me, I said, I love it. Like, the fact that it meant so much to me, I think was a good kickstart for that title. And then it really became something the guys were proud of, to the point where when Tommy Dreamer won it at Madison Square Garden, he had tears streaming down his face. And so that title belt had to be brought out of Tommy's den, where it sits over his mantle, to be given to me, so it could be presented to me in Madison Square Garden, so that Randy Orton could hit me over the head with my own title and throw me down a flight of stairs. And in the worst wrestler case scenario ever, it split my head wide open and no one saw a drop of blood because I had long dark hair. I had a huge divot in the back of my head. I was in pain for seriously like 6 weeks because of a deep shoulder bruise, and I had been offered padding. I turned it down because I was the hardcore legend, and for like 6 weeks I regretted that decision. Believe me, yeah.
Speaking of Randy Orton, when you had retired in 2000, and that was going to be it, 2004 was 2003 was when the angle happened. 2004 was when you made your return against Randy Orton. And kind of one of the stories of your career is, Triple H's ascent was partially his feud with you. Randy Orton's ascent was partially his feud with you. Why Randy Orton at that point in time, and what made you decide he was the guy to do it with? Well,
the initial idea I pitched to Vince back when I could call up the office and be in his office the next day pitching to him was... I said, look, I haven't been on TV in a long time, so what if I join the Royal Rumble and I win it? And because I'm not part of Raw or SmackDown, I challenge both champions and I win that. And I become the undisputed WWE champion. He looked at me and said, I have no interest whatsoever in doing that. And I said, well, I've got this idea for me and Randy Orton. And I think, and then he started taking notes. And I had a lot, I was given a lot of freedom to do that. Me and Brian Gewirtz got together and I think really came up with a really great 12-week program. And you could feel you could feel Randy's star rising, and never more so than after we did the big match in Edmonton. What was the name of that? The pay-per-view there, the one. In Edmonton.
Backlash,
that was it. Backlash, and I made it home the next day, and it was like the reaction. I turned on the TV, the reaction when they announced Randy the next day. I think they were in Calgary that next night. It was like night and day. Like, it had just changed people's perception of him literally overnight. And so for that reason, I think that was the most successful program I ever did. I think I just saw something in him and realized he needed that one little thing, and that I needed, I'd been away for 4 years as far as wrestling, and that if I wasn't going to get the chance to be the undisputed WWE title, that was a really good second choice. And I would have made a great undisputed WWE champion, yeah, so Vince was wrong about that.
And you famously said about the WrestleMania 20 match that you had when it was Rock and Sock against Evolution that you weren't 100% happy with the match.
Yeah.
You didn't think it stank, but you thought it was just okay. Like, how does your mindset then work when you've got this big match the next month? Because I mean, that match is more what people remember, that singles match. How did you in your brain kind of compute, okay, that didn't quite work how I wanted it to, I'm going to change gear?
Well, the match itself I think was really good, but I wasn't good. The Rock was great, Rick was great, Dave and Randy were very good. I wasn't out there to do the best I could. And I don't think playing it safe is the way to make your return. You know, it's certainly not the way to get into it wasn't my hallmark. It's not why I ended up in the Hall of Fame. And so I really thought that second match with Randy was going to be my last chance to make that good impression. And so I did everything I could to make sure it happened that way.